part. Like, it never made it to anyone else in the circle. It only made it for, like, the little tiny portion at the start.
Yeah. Did you guys talk about why that happened? What did you talk about?
Because kind of like, there wasn't that much, like, communicating, and it was distracting because, like Blake said, everyone was talking.
Evan?
Not many people trusted each other, thinking that, like, not many people really listened to the directions of other people.
Tommy?
Me and Alex talked about how if people were quiet, people would be able to hear them, their names being called, and so they could know that the basketball was going to be coming to them.
Me and Lucy talked about really, we did good. There's nothing wrong with our strategy. I think it was just some bad runs because how we grabbed it the first.
Who felt really frustrated? Spencer, can you tell me why?
Well, partially because I'm at the very end and there was nothing I could really do about it. Because I would be the last person to open their eyes, and the only person that wouldn't open their eyes and be able to help with the challenge. So I felt kind of like I had nothing to do with it.
Felt kind of frustrating, didn't it?
Yeah.
Lily, what were you gonna say?
Never mind.
About being, never mind, okay. Come back to you if you think that, Evan.
Kind of like Spencer, it felt kind of frustrating because the basket never reached me, so it kept going from like Charlotte to somewhere around like Izzy or Trey, and then it never kind of reached me.
Mm.
So I was just sitting here kind of like Spencer doing nothing.
Yeah. Can you think of it, Lily? Go ahead.
Yeah. It was frustrating because Charlotte kept pushing me off of my seat. What?
So people fooling around,
Yeah.
waiting for the basket made it a little challenging?
Yeah.
I'm sure Charlotte was just being playful. Izzy.
So I have anxiety, so like, I think I heard Trey like talking like, okay, so wait, what do I do now? And I'm like, oh god, the basket's gonna come to me next, but I couldn't really hear when he got it because some people next to me were talking, and I was like, I was like trying to make them be quiet by shushing them, but it didn't work because nobody was listening to me because they were hearing themselves talk.
Mm. Thank you for sharing. Evan.
I think it was really frustrating because everyone was talking and we kept saying stop talking, stop talking, stop talking, and they just kept talking, and like everyone else said, it never made past Izzy and Trey, so it was like all the rest of us just sat here waiting.
So, yeah, so let me ask this question. Was it just as loud when you did the first few rounds where you were successful?
Kind of.
I mean,
No.
No,
No.
it was a little.
no, it's just like now we really need to listen
Why?
because our eyes are closed and we don't know what's going on.
So it's more of a challenge.
It's already quieter because people know they're supposed to be quiet, but then they're loud anyways.
Okay. What kind of things do you need to work on to make any of the levels successful? Tommy?
So I said this, so like just for people what to say. Like me and a couple other kids were asking who had it, but now that I think about it, if all of us were quiet, we would be able to hear who had it because they were saying it.
Okay.
I think we need like communication to figure out like, especially in this challenge, because like for the beginning of it, all of us have our eyes closed. So we can't see what's happening. We need people to tell us what's happening. So we need to have reliable communication, and we need to have people being quiet so someone who's getting the basket can hear the directions, so they don't accidentally drop it or someone else drops it.
Are we gonna try again?
Listening and communication. What else do you need to make this successful? Or what else does this challenge get at that you have to work kind of through?
A specific level might need patience because the basket might not always get to you. If someone like Spencer at the very end.
Yeah. Tommy?
Teamwork.
Teamwork.
Did you finish this? Did you get through this level?
Oh, we didn't try this yesterday because we ran out of time. So, but we asked her what the next level would be. So this is it. So I don't know if we would have been successful.
Wait, was that SMS?
No, it was in Saco, but not at the school.
Oh.
Jesse.
Maybe the like Spencer said, he was frustrated because he was going last. Maybe if we fail, we can go the other way. That way they get a chance to go first as well, or not to be last.
So different strategies, different ways to go.
That way people don't get frustrated and
Oh, yeah.
Direction next time, I'll go this way.
So now I have sort of a bigger question that I want you to apply this to. How could you apply this to something in the real world where you need these strategies, whether it's school or outside of school? Alex.
where you're like deserted in an island with a few people. I don't know what are the odds of that.
So you would need to use communication and patience and all of that if you were on a deserted island?
Patience for help and communication to like work with the people also in the island to like survive to craft some survival stuff.
Wow, that was a big example. Thank you for sharing.
Me and Charlotte were to an island.
We'll wait so Izzy can be heard. Thank you. Izzy.
So I feel like that would be very helpful to know your surroundings, to know who you're working with, and how to get along with them. Because, like, let's say that somebody in this room ends up becoming a surgeon, you need to know how to communicate with one another, or else you may kill someone. And you need to be aware of this. You need to be aware of your surroundings, or else you won't know what tools you have. You won't know, how you're supposed to use them. So just be aware of who's around you and how to work with them.
You have to talk to
Spencer.
I saw this video about these people, and there was a giant manta ray stuck on a fishing net, and it was dying. And these people, a bunch of people on the beach helped picked it up and put it back in the water. And if they didn't communicate and have teamwork, they wouldn't have ever been able to get it off the net.
I'm sure. Blake.
If you want to work with other colleagues, you have to talk to them, understand what to do next when you're in a difficult situation.
Definitely. Evan.
Kind of like a little example compared to everyone's giant examples, but like maybe if you were doing like a puzzle or something
Yeah.
like escape room or something, you would need to communicate with everyone else because everyone has to take part in something. Like if you were doing a puzzle, everyone could like take a certain part in the puzzle that they were trying to put together, because you could like help someone like find certain pieces for it.
Yeah, so a plan, right? Jessica.
kind of like the circle we're in right now. Like sometimes there's meetings in like when you're doing like your job, so you need to listen and be able to. You need to be able to listen to other people to like help advance the company or whatever you're doing.
Yeah, cool. Evan.
If you're in like any sports, you'll need to learn how to communicate with your team, and if you don't think something is right and most of the other people think it's right, then you should just follow along with it. And if you are very patient, then you'll get the thing done or do it right.
Can you say the first part again? Did you say that people should follow along with it?
Yeah,
What do you mean by that?
something, if you think differently, but everybody else thinks like what another person thinks, and it's pretty much just you, then you should follow along with it so you don't make anything more difficult.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a second. Does anybody want to say anything about that? Brady.
I think you should state idea, why,
So you think you should kind of, even if you think differently, you should be able to speak up? So Evan, could you talk about an example about what you mean when people should just go with everybody else's idea and not speak up?
Well, if it's something like really small, like right now, if everybody's saying, yeah, let's go this way, but you think differently, and let's go that way. And if it's something just about you, like you want to get the thing, but everybody else is trying to like accomplish what they're trying to do, maybe you should go with everyone else's idea.
Okay. Spencer, did you want to say something about that?
I think what Evan's trying to get at is if you're like outvoted and everyone else wants to do this one thing, then don't hold like a grudge against them and say no, and like even though they said to do this, you do something else anyways, or you don't follow what they say. If it's kind of a more serious example, but like in the elections, if you were told like by the president and everyone on his team, or the want-to-be president and everyone on his team to do this campaign, and you did your own thing, then you'd probably get fired.
Interesting. Jesse?
So it kind of reminds me of football, because you sometimes just have to trust your teammates, because you may not see what the idea, how the play's gonna work out, but kind of like what Evan said, you don't, but you still might want to like state your example to see if you can build off of it. But if everybody else is gonna do something else, you should just go along with the plan and not mess it up.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's fine then.
Okay. Any other thoughts? So, here's my last question, and then we'll pick up our allied arts. I will start class tomorrow, allowing you to try to beat this level. How are you going to start the challenge tomorrow? Charlotte?
We should recall what we've talked about, like, today, and, like, think of the ideas that we tried to come up with that would help us be successful in the challenge. That would probably be the best way to start it off, so everyone's on the same page, I think.
Okay, Blake?
To be able to have your eyes closed and be messing with the person next to you and talking.
Cool. Lizzie?
Have trust and faith in your teammates, knowing that you're all trying to work towards the same end goal, and that if you are the one to mess up, that's okay, because your teammates will still help you in the end.
All right. So, do you want to try the challenge to start class tomorrow?
Yeah.
All right.